Welcome to the weather forecast for the week beginning Wednesday, September 1st, 2021. We made it. It's a new month. I'm Chief Meteorologist John Insworth for Longmont Public Media. Now, we don't have any moon to be seen in the sky. We have a new moon Sunday, September 5th. So let's move on to drought. Looking at last week, we had a little more drought, some abnormal to moderate drought conditions in the northeast and not too far northeast of Longmont. We still have a fair amount of drought west of the mountains, but because of all the monsoonal flow and storms, we've actually seen some significant decrease of drought conditions in the west central part of the state, and maybe a little bit up in the northwest as well. The drought right along I-25 area is also gone. So, yeah, we're getting rain now and then. We're getting some relief. Nationally, from last week to this, we'll see some relief all the way around the margins of the Great Plains. We have more storms and thunderstorms in Arizona, so it's getting better there, and not much changes out west. So there we go. Certainly where the hurricane came in, no drought conditions there at all. That little spot right there will be gone next week. For precipitation, it was a pretty quiet week. Had a few thunderstorms here and there in the mountains, a few out on the plains that dropped very narrow local swaths of heavy rain, but for the most part, including Longmont, everybody got a trace of an inch or a couple hundredths of an inch. So the return of the moisture is visible in the water vapor satellite image, where these grays and even purples are very moist air or high frozen clouds. Out here in the reds and oranges is very dry atmospheric column. We have our tropical system that died off of the Baja and is up here off of the Southern California coast. Very cold Alaskan water coming down kills those things very quickly, but the moisture still survives and has to come inland. Here's a fetch of moisture coming up through Mexico and into the U.S. as well. So on Wednesday we have a trophiness to our west. We have 1, 2, 3 kind of lobes or short waves in this overall depressed section of atmosphere. We have a big giant ridge over the central part of the nation and moisture responding. So with that high in Texas, you can see the flow coming around and going right up into and converging in the Four Corners area. We even have a low here, a Lee trough low, kind of giving some upslope on the northern part of Colorado into Wyoming. So that flow is also pushing some clean air up across the state, shoving the smoke momentarily northward. Right along I-25 it kind of lingers, and then another blob moves in by the beginning of the weekend. Looking at surface smoke, you can see surface smoke never quite clears out. It tries to, but clean air coming up from the south, but some pours right back down I-25, and then the overall smoky cloud returns. For severe weather, not much right now. I have a chance of general thunderstorms across the entire state on Wednesday. A little slight marginal risk up in Nebraska and South Dakota. The remains of Ida are creating the storm chances out here. Pretty spooky right around New York and the major metropolitan areas up there. On Thursday, not much changes for Colorado. We have a little marginal risk out in Kansas, Nebraska. But then, even though the moisture is decreasing, the storms are going to become more widespread. Approaching shortwave and remaining moisture could interact to create a few thunderstorms that actually do get severe. Some large hail, damaging hail, and some strong damaging winds are possible under those. Over the next 10 days, our normal high temperature is now noticeably dropping from 84 to 79. September 1st is the beginning of meteorological autumn, or fall. Around September 2021 is astronomical fall's beginning. But we definitely see climatologically, Northern Hemisphere starts to really cool down. Here's our monsoon moisture and the effects of the western trophiness for the next few days at the beginning of the forecast period. Then it gets really quiet beyond that. So for Thursday, we have this ridge up over the center of the nation. And the troughiness over out in the west, here comes another short wave to kick off some more storms. And taking a look at the precipitation, this is sort of the maximum of the coverage of rain and thunderstorms. The low down here around Pueblo, we see that late Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Here is the remains of Ida, still not quite gone. Sunday noon, everything is switched. Big trough out in the east, and a big ridge with the high pressure reforming over California, and we are just going to start to bake again. Sorry. So let's put this in motion and see all this happening. So we have the trough out west, kicking little short waves in. Here's our giant ridge center over Texas. It starts to expand to the west. You have briefly west to east flow, and then the high really kicks in again over Nevada, California, and kind of wanders back towards Colorado, and we are right under the high pressure center by Thursday next week and into the end of next week. So above normal temperatures, especially with normal temperatures dropping so much, and dry conditions are expected. So let's take a look at that. Here comes the troughiness in the beginning of this cycle, keeping temperatures below normal for the most part. You can see thunderstorms and cloudiness and rain creating local pools of cold. And then as we come out of the weekend, that ridge starts to expand, reform over the west, and look at all that abnormal heat. The reds are above normal, the blues are below normal. It's not actual temperature that you're looking at, and boy, that's cooking. So what's going to happen with the moisture? Well, we start out with a good amount of moisture flow. Then you see as the troughs pass, it starts to shove some of that moisture to our east. Here comes some very dry air into Sunday. Oh, interesting ribbon of moisture up in the Pacific Northwest. Monsoonal moisture is heading out into California, which could be good news for them unless they get lightning strikes. But we are now in this bubble of really dry air underneath the center of the high pressure system into the end of next week. So storminess won't play this for long because all the good stuff happens here at the beginning. There goes the rain and showers for Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday. There's a severe weather chance, and then they're gone. And then it just dries out. So for the next 5 days, we might see about a quarter of an inch of rain on average along the I-25 corridor. Some of the mountain areas could get 3/4 of an inch or so over the next 10 days. You can see the southern and central mountains could get some good rain with the storms. So over the next 7 days, we ride down closer to normal in the 80s and stay that way until the end of the weekend, where the ridge comes back and we start getting really hot. Now the normal highs are still dropping, so by Tuesday it should be the low 80s and we're in the upper 80s. So yeah, that's just what we have to deal with. A little more summer, a little more smoke, hanging on. Oh, didn't mean to show that. So for frequent weather updates and local news of interest, check out Longmont Leader at longmontleader.com. This has been Chief Meteorologist John Ensworth, stuttering over my words at the end. Keep looking up.